It's the book of 2nd Ezra 15. I'm going to start at verse 23, and it reads, "The fire has gone forth from his wrath, and hath consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin, and keep not my commandments, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children, from the power, defile not my sanctuary." Verse 26, "For the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai knoweth all that sin against him, and therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For the Most High shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him." I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to Call Haloyam La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem. Double honors to the elders, to the apostles that I learned this truth from. Peace and salutations to the Akim, across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aqua that they're listening and learning, Lord willingly. This is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, with whom subscribe to this truth. To you also, Shalom. Brother Yahweh, what's up? Coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Yahweh meaning he is, he exists, or he to be. Ba'ashem, Ba'as'en, Hazda. Shem his name. Yahushai meaning he saves, or he deliverer. True names of the Most High God and His Son, who these people ignorantly call God and Jesus Christ, but whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. This lesson is inspired by pretty much this Salakia, this video. I'm kind of sleepy. May the Lord give me that second wind, that spiritual second wind. But anyhow, yeah, this lesson is inspired by this video. Fair use. I'm not profiting off of this, but I'm just going to use it to like line up scriptures because we know what time we in. You know, I just found out something. You know, be on my spirit to say certain things because you know I heard brothers say something like along the lines of a trailblazer. So you know what I mean, like. I don't know who I am. I pray that I'm doing the will and the work of Yahweh Shema Shah. We don't want to do our own will, you know. And if it's the will of the Lord and you are the elect, you might think you're doing your will and you're gonna end up doing the Lord's anyway. You know what I mean? Like Jonah. Yeah, I find Jonah funny. Show you how you don't know the Most High Spirit. You know, Jonah didn't want to do it, end up doing it. Then he like destroy him. You know what I mean? Like judge him, and the Lord didn't judge. But then the cold part was the Lord, like centuries later, judged them. So, yeah. Anyhow, Salaki, I'm all over the place, but not really. That's my style, like the elder said. I got the drunken master style. But anyhow, yeah, we had some real times. You know, I found something out. Pretty much like they fucking with my stamps, but come to find out, I think they're gonna do that to everybody. So, you know, you have been warned. You know. And when these things come to pass, then they shall know that a prophet was among them. You know what I mean? I pray that, you know, I'm a visionary, I'm a seer. I pray I'm doing the will of the Lord, like we all need to be, because this shit about what the elder brother read, that comment from Esau. You know it's Esau, because they always say, tighten up or toughen up, buttercup, because the shit about to get real raw and rugged. You know what I'm talking about? You know, like Esau, what they did, the Brokeback Mountain shit. It's a dangerous guy. Shit. You know what I mean? And people playing around. You know, you got to think about that. That's how much you got to fear the Lord. Like the Lord, the same righteousness and the same the integrity that's on the right-hand side, the Lord can put a reprobate and a wicked spirit on somebody to do some of the violent shit. That's terrifying, man. Like when you take them, like you got people's judgments. You got some people, some of these proud-ass women as judgments, they don't even fathom what they gonna have to go through. You got to show you the pride of this place. You got women with all this shit going on still being proud. They losing and they still proud. You know, that killed me when the brother brought out the talk about, can you just kill all Jakes? That sounds like some of my demon to say, all the Jake men. So they could just really be just locked in with Esau. Fuck these hoes. I asked a brother about me. I was saying that shit when I was at the cap. I would walk past these hoes. These hoes would be dead. Only females I'm trying to fuck with is like the one that you know is a helpmeet, and you know, my daughters, you know what I mean? And like I said again, I'm understanding the will of the Lord, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the scriptures say wicked man understand enough judgment. So if it happened, that must have been the will of the Lord. Now the Lord could create a situation and test your faith, and you know you don't know how the Lord gonna like reward you, you know. Come through that at the last minute, and then like the elder was saying, Samson, you know, he wasn't always walking around with that super strength. The Spirit of the Lord would come upon him. Just like in Judges, you know. I can't think of the what was his name? Jehu? I can't think of his name, but he killed 600 men with a ox goad, you know. So it was like a spear, but it had a little hook on it, so to basically kind of maneuver and control the ox. The Lord put a spirit on him and he killed 600 men. I love the book of Judges. But anyhow, or Ehud, you know what I mean. But I'm all over the place again, Salakia. But yeah, it's about to get real deal Holyfield. So you know, be prepared to give up shit. You know, like again, if I qualify for it, you know what's funny about it? You got all these like the elder said Skeletor. He called him that nigga do look like Skeletor too. But the thing is this: you got everybody got their 2 cents about, well, you know, all this fraud and whatnot. But who's committing the biggest fraud? It ain't, you know, Joe Schmo or Keisha down the street or Pookie. You know, you had Edomites that was sitting up there bragging about, you know, because Esau being the root. It'll be a government official. Like they was talking about people who was dead that was collecting Social Security for, you know what I mean, for when they 200 years old, or, you know, you got all these different accounts of, you know, welfare, you know, money just popping out of nowhere or being funneled somewhere. You know what I mean? You know, at the end of the day, it's all pretty much bringing forth that system because they want to track, trace, and monitor everything, you know. And that's the whole point of that digital ID. You know, that's what I plan on going into on my camp, Lord willingly, if that's the spirit of the Lord, you know, because that's the hot topic right now. And ultimately, like I said, it's closer than what you think. You know, it's a form of digital ID right now in order to actually, that's probably what they about to do. Damn, that's the spirit. Call William like y'all, that's why they revamping everything with the food stuff, because they said they're gonna knock and kick everybody off of the food stamps as well as the Section 8, and then you're gonna have to reapply. And in order to probably reapply, you're gonna have to probably do that digital ID. Now again, I'm already locked in with the digital ID to a degree because before we knew what it was, literally in order to get unemployment, you got to go online and create a digital ID. So it's a form of digital ID already here. They just gonna revamp it in certain states and whatnot. So yeah, this shit is at the door, you know. What the scriptures talk about, salvation is nearer than when we believe. I think that's Romans. So without further ado, I'm gonna I'm gonna play this. Like I said, fair use, fair use. I hate that.
Listen up. If you're part of the food stamps program, here's something that will blow your mind. With your EBT
card,
you
they keep on talking about this Trump with the $2,000 shit, but then that's just a proposal. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is so many lies that be going on. You know what I mean? Like, they talk about they haven't approved anything yet. They basically talking about it. It's not guaranteed. And like that one particular bishop, the elder bishop brother, he was saying like that carrot before the nose effect. You know, they dangling that carrot to keep on drawing you, you know, away from Yahweh Shem Yahshua, because people gonna trust in this place. This man that wants to really, when Trump, if Trump gives you anything, which I don't think he's gonna do, I think it's gonna be exposed to the fact that he's not a good businessman. You gotta remember, this man is the same man that lost his fortune a few different times. Only reason why, you know, Dame Dash used to say something. He said, if you got a group or your clique is full of 10 dudes, literally all y'all supposed to be a millionaire. So when pretty much, if he fall off, pretty much everybody can give him a 100,000 and he'll be back to a millionaire after them 10 brothers. That's how Dame Dash used to think. I didn't know he could box and all that shit, you know what I mean? But it shows you the many talents of certain individuals, you know what I mean? And Dame Dash is kind of arrogant, but I don't even call it arrogance. Like a lot of people say arrogance. He was confident. He knew the system. That's what, like, the thing is, he's sitting up there like, well, you don't even really understand business. Like, he's saying, ain't nobody ever had to pay this amount of money that he has to pay. Trump didn't have to pay it, all these other businessmen. So why do he got to pay it? Because it's loopholes. But that shit go over a lot of people's head. And Jake hate on another Jake before they actually commend him. No, I point out certain clear shit. You know what I mean? The same individual that I could actually have something to say about, I can give them their kudos or their flowers too.
Somebody to fucking tell me they're lying. I need somebody to fucking
That's good to see. Now, I ain't gonna lie. That's good to see these motherfuckers crying. Like, again, I'm on the mindset, I may apply, but I might not. You know what I mean? The scriptures talk about visuals should be so good and cheap. You know, right now, food is kind of cheap. You get a case of fish, you know what I'm saying, lawful fish, like 15 pounds for like $40. That ain't bad. What's that, 2 Ezra chapter 6? Visuals should be so good and cheap. Now the thing is this, when people ain't buying this shit, What's going to happen? Like, again, this is a planned demolition of America. He's already talking about the strategies with the tariffs. He's got to roll that shit back because pretty much he put himself in a corner. So now he's lowering the tariffs on certain countries. So now they're about to renegotiate. This guy, you're going to figure out, was not a great, brilliant businessman like all you people put your trust and hope in. Except for the brothers. The brothers already saw through this devil, you know. You know what I mean? But these stupid-ass Babylonians, no, they can't see anything. They can't even see the carrot being dangled before their nose. I'm not going to keep on If I see that you're trying to manipulate me, I'm literally not going to go that way. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been manipulated. But for the most part, like, no, we see what it is, and that's why we ain't going.
They're lying. I need somebody to fucking tell me they're lying right fucking now because what the fuck do you mean?
She said they got to tell me they lying. Now, that's an Edomite. She probably really, like say, and that's the thing, like say, they got these people dependent, you know, it's called enabling, you know. You got a lot of people upset because, you know, you was able to afford. I remember before I had children, I wasn't able to afford any fucking, and I had little shitty jobs at, you know, the restaurants and whatnot, and was in school. So I'm barely making it. Like, well, I didn't qualify for no shit. And then I paid rent, you know what I'm saying? So I'm barely like so I get it, you know what I mean? Nobody, if I could only afford tuna fish, why do they get to eat lobster? But what they don't get is these measures is about to fall on everybody. You know, people talking about go get a job, but when you realize it ain't that many fucking jobs, that's, you know, again, people don't take time to actually The first time I heard the term critically thinking was in college. Coolidge, you know, and we didn't learn about the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? But long story short, you know, critical thinking, this nation is a bunch of people that don't critical or don't know how to critically think. Because if you critically thought, you would say, well, damn, it ain't just the fact that these people getting, you know, you got to understand, they're able to actually, like with the healthcare situation, they broke their neck to pass that healthcare bill because you got certain politicians that got money involved and invested in that shit.
And I'm not gonna get my fucking SNAP benefits. What the fuck do you mean?
I've been seeing people talking about SNAP cuts lately, you know, and food banks across the country, and it's really tough to watch. People are waiting hours in line, and these food banks are running out of supplies. Let's look at what folks are experiencing.
I just saw 3 videos almost back to back of people in line for food banks, and they were like, one of them was like, they said they were in line for 4 hours. The other one said they were in line for 3 hours. And one of them, they were like, I've been in line for 5 hours. I have no idea what the normal times are at any of those places because they didn't say. But that's crazy.
Working class people were hungry. And look at this line. Yeah, these are people who are hungry. And it's after 8 in the morning. So somehow no do like a alone need food. People over here hungry same way. Working without pay because the government shut down a month now.
I mean, what's the point? If you're driving a $55,000 car and you paying over $100
a month now.
She's been working at a food bank for 18 years. Volunteer work for 18 years at this food bank. And she said she has never seen such a line and such need. And she started to cry. And I said, why?
Because she possesses empathy. But at the same time, the Lord gonna put, I mean, you know, that's the thing about Jake. Jake can empathize. You know, once in a while, I ain't say once in a while, at times I empathize with brothers, their situations. I've heard the one brother was telling me about a particular brother, you know, he would cry when he would hear about certain brothers dealing with their situation. You know, thing is, I didn't understand the will of the Lord at the time. You know, a lot of brothers would allow certain things to take place because that was the will of the Lord. But then also, the Spirit of the Lord to jump on certain men to actually give correction or actually impose judgment. And if you believe in that the Lord is dealing with that man, that's what it was. Now, my whole thing was, why is it this when it deals with certain individuals and why is it not? But that was the will of the Lord too. And I, you know, like I was listening to a particular brother, elder brother say that, you know, the Lord doesn't make mistakes. I wholeheartedly know I know I'm not crazy. I know, like I said again, the Lord actually did this for a reason because again, the ministry can't be blamed. And they looking to blame me. Like I said again, I ain't gonna go into too much detail. I try not to, but I try to give a heads up because again, you never know. Like, you know, again, the Lord have somebody going through something for a particular reason. It might be a particular brother going through something in the camp for that camp. I remember the one elder brother used to say that when they had to deal with certain situations in the camp, and then when they actually would come to a decision and, you know, get over it, they'd be like, okay, we dealt with that. Because the Lord trying you and taking you different things to give you wisdom. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 8. You know, like with me, I was homeless. You know what I mean? So again, I'm not going to lose my shit. That's why I ain't tripping on the fact that they'll get the food. Because right now you could go get food. You still go to a food bank. You can still, but you could buy some shit. You wasting money on alcohol to take that same $25 and go buy a couple packs of meat. You know what I'm saying? Like, the thing is, with you know, I receive benefits from the government, but you really think that shit lasted the whole month? No. So, like I said, you got all these people with their opinions talking about, oh, it's not set up for you to live off of it. I never got no $1,000 in no fucking food stamps. The most I got, I think, was $500. And now they dropped it to $300, but then they cut me off. But from what I hear, they're going to cut everybody off and make you reapply. So it's probably going to be changes. Like everybody been in the spirit, all the brothers been in the spirit of when they bring it back, it's going to probably be a lot different. And it's probably you're going to have to sign up for that digital ID. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that dwell in the latter time. Salakia. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time dwell. Salakia. That in the latter time shall dwell in the world because they have walked in great pride. Because they have walked in great pride. Verse 51, but understand thou for thyself and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. Which is basically holding on to this truth. You know, it's nothing in the world. You know what I mean? Again, it's easier said than done. You like to think that you had a mindset of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Look at Peter. Peter said, I'm willing to die for the Lord, but then ran. So, you know, you don't know what the spirit you're going to be in. The Lord going to have to keep you in that day. But at the same time, I don't see anything worth holding on to here. You know. If anything, my life is super hard, and on top of it, you know, I remember brothers, I could sit here like yesterday when it wasn't yesterday, it was years ago, but he was like, you can't like even be willing to sacrifice yourself for your children because you don't know who they are. You know, I think about it now, like I was put in a household, and I love and respect my father because my father could have did it a lot of different ways, but I also understand, I understand a lot of things that ain't brought to the light as well. So my thing is, at the end, that's the beautiful part about, and show you how that scripture is true. You know, you're not going to pay for the sins of your father, and your father's not going to pay for the sins of the son. You're going to pay for your sins because, you know, you are your father coming back, you know. So, you know, your lot, what you're given is because of the will of the Lord and for this judgment for what you did, you know, in your past life. And just imagine the judgment of these. You got to remember, this is the generation that said, crucify Yahushua. On top of the fact of him coming back with the, you know, bringing fire. So yeah, these people crying and suffering, you know, that is sad. But at the same time, that's the will of the Lord is going to be done. All this is judgment. Call Loyim like Yahweh Shem Shai.
And she started to cry. And I said, why are you crying? And she goes, Drayton, they were begging me for food.
They was begging. They not going to beg the Lord or repent to the Lord, but they going to beg for food. When the scriptures talk about man does not live by bread alone. Well, what we about to see, you know, I was in that spirit of watching that movie Thunderbolts, and I haven't even watched the movie. I just watched those little short trailers. And at the end of the day, that spirit of despair, that spirit of depression, these people, you know, I'm surprised people ain't really just did no ape shit type shit, but at the same time, they're not going to really put that out there like that either. Because they already know, you know, how contagious certain shit is. You know, you have people on the internet talking about we gonna take shit and show you how simple the nigga woman is. That bitch, them two bitches went in there, them two Lego blocks. I'm trying to not be as vulgar, but those two Lego blocks went in there and literally like dared a motherfucker touch her. Like I say, I'm glad I had to deal with the wildebeest. You know, like I said, they didn't regard Esau. Esau was scared. They didn't regard Esau, so you know they already looking at Jake as weakling. So you know what I mean? That's the type of bitch you gonna have to put on her ass. You can't even play with her. You'll play with her. You knock that bitch out. You know, on some Baby D type shit.
Begging, and we
Slim
ran
Goody.
out. And she
said they ran out of food.
I had to listen to people beg for anything. And she said, in 18 years of doing this, it's never happened before. And she goes, I wasn't ready. And she said,
Now just imagine when you see little kids starving and can't eat, and people gonna be using their kids as decoys. Like on the book of Eli when they used that woman as a decoy, and Eli could smell him. He was like, I can smell the motherfucker ain't baby. He was like, man, what's that, about 30 yards? He said, man, this man is exceptional. And then after that, he took him out. What she tried to do? Can I come with you? He like, no. but a Jake that can't control his flesh, he'd have took the bitch. That bitch had all kind of demons on her.
get ready because you're going to start hearing about this all across the country. That's the America that we live in right now.
Yeah. So get ready. This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 7 and verse, I'm going to start at verse 3. Now is the end come upon thee, and I will send my anger upon thee. The end of this devil taking care of you two-thirds Jakes and Esau. What Klaus Schwab said, he said, get ready or prepare for an angrier, more meaner world. What they say, you're not the same when you hungry. You hangry. Neither will I, upon thee, and will judge thee according to thy ways, and we will recompense or reward or repay upon thee all thy abominations. So those that did righteously will be
Three signs that your blood
a
pressure
righteous
is
judgment, and those that have did wickedly will receive, a wicked reward. Verse 4, and my eyes shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense thy ways upon thee, and thine abomination shall be in the midst of thee, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You got these individuals that eat dog. What happens when the dog eats your ass? Verse 5, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua. I was watching the one dude, he called him the coon man. This nigga down south, them down south boys is different. Them down south boys is real different. It's funny. Because I heard about down south dudes, they don't believe in eating no quabah, Not to be vulgar, but they don't believe in eating quabah. But from what I hear, they off into some other, deviant shit, worse than eating the quabah. Scriptures talk about pretty much as long as you ain't doing, like anal.
Your social security check should have increased last month, but they're counting on...
What goes on in the bedroom, the marriage bed is not defiled, roughly paraphrased.
But they're counting...
Verse 5, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua power. Oh, yeah, but he was eating coon. Probably eating all kind of shit. Squirrel. I think the squirrel is part of a rat family type of thing. You got the ferret, the squirrel, the rat. But a raccoon can have rabies. That coon meat. I say these niggas is crazy. Verse 5, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua power, evil and only evil behold is come. Evil is a compound word, eve meaning time, ill meaning bad. And end is come, the end of all this aid, because they want you in a desperate state to actually just accept this system. And we closer than when we believe. Like I say, again, that's beautiful. Call Loyam like Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because again, this is going to actually humble a lot of motherfuckers, And if you ain't humbled after this, that mean that pride, the Lord can't do nothing with you for real. The scriptures talk about pride coming before a haughty spirit and destruction. I butchered it. I know it's in Proverbs. A haughty spirit pride come before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Call Loyam like Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Scriptures talk about before honor is humility. But the 2/3 and the heathen and whatnot, and then show you how easily manipulated these people is, because you could just tell that they're going to say it's these people's fault. And people are not going to look at the real matter. They're not going to critically think. They're going to say, oh, yeah, he said it. Look how many people sitting up there talking about DJ Trump, his policies working. He just came out his mouth and said that his strategy of the tariffs didn't work like he thought. He didn't even collect the money he thought. He's literally lying, talking about trillions when they only can report 150, 200 billion. Which is not enough to give everybody $2,000 check, but yet and still people trusting in that. Or like the elder bishop said, dangling that carrot before your eyes to get you to, the scriptures talk about the sheep hear the Lord's voice and pretty much and follow him wherever he should go. But 2/3 and these other people, these demons, these nations, they gonna follow death to death. It's the book of I probably ain't gonna bring no more out of this because I literally trying to hurry up and end this. This is book of Ezekiel chapter 20, Ezekiel 14 and 20. Though Noah, Daniel, and Job were in it as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua power, they shall deliver neither son nor daughter, they shall but deliver their own souls by their righteousness. And again, I just brought up about the fact that you're not going to pay for the sins of your father, or your father not going to pay for the sins of the son, but you're going to have to, it's going to be on you, you know what I mean? That's why the scriptures talk about seek out ye own salvation with fear and trembling. We can't save anybody. I can't save my children. I could try to instill the truth into them, give them the names, tell them what's coming, tell them how they supposed to walk in the Lord. But I can't, I watch it. It's funny. If I had boys, it'd be easier. And that's why the elder said what he said. You marry them off quick. I would marry, let that dude, if you want him so bad, let her be your headache. Verse 21, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua power, how much more when I send my 4 sore judgments. Let's look up that word, sore.
Strong's H 7451, Ra, and
like
second
Ra.
entry, Ra,
right. It said,
and third entry, Ra'ah.
It says bad, evil, adversity, affliction, bad, calamity, displease or displeasure, distress, exceedingly great grief, harm, heavy, hurt, ill, mark, mischief, misery, naught, noisome, sorrow, trouble, vex, wicked, worse, wretchedness, wrong. Show biblical, bad, disagreeable, malignant, evil, displeasing, worse, sad, hurtful. So the sore judgments is all those definitions. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua, how much more when I send my 4 sore judgments upon Jerusalem, the sword and the famine and the noisome beast and the pestilence to cut off from it man and beast. And that's how the Lord is going to use to plead with the flesh. First and foremost, he's going to start with the 2/3 of the nation of Israel. Because we about to be heading, we pretty much she lightweight sex. We pretty much into the time of Jacob's trouble. I claim you in the name of the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahshua Hashem. Yeah, it's a lot for that, but doing the work, so I, what was bound on earth is bound up in heaven, But anyhow, because that's the whole thing. Like, I mean, for real, I wouldn't want no 30 women on this side because they headaches, And the Lord know my spirit, so he probably did it like that because I might be like the young Jake, the young bull, just wherever my little head going, and then that start affecting, doing the work and the will of the Lord and all that, Like the Lord had no problem with you having pleasures, but right now you should be locked in more with the spirit than the flesh, As the Lord judgment is going around before I gotta, that's my screensaver. That's how we gonna be. You see, and I already got a mindset of, prepare to lose things. Now we want to, again, shit, all the way down to the dog or the hamster, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I think hamster go back to the rat family too. But at the same time, being realistic, you know what I mean? You can really truly, because ain't none of this stuff ours, you know what I mean? The Lord allows you, like even the children aren't ours. The children are the Lord's. He's just giving you time to, he put you in charge or put you over that, And the wicked person gonna lead them astray, and the righteous person is gonna, try to lead them the right or righteous way. It's the book of Ezekiel chapter 5. I'm going to start at verse 16. When I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for their destruction, and which I will send to destroy you, I will increase the famine upon you and will break your staff of bread. And then food stamps is a form of him breaking that staff of bread. And like I said again, call law like how about Shem Shah, because, again, I saw it, But it's so spiritual because they doing little shit. I'm paying attention, and then the Lord explaining why. This makes all the sense if they're going to cut everybody off to have to reapply. And they're using the fact that they saying, well, they want to cut out fraud, want to make sure, people ain't fraudulently using it. So you're going to have to reapply and they're going to have to, do this and do that. But what if they say now you got to sign up for the digital ID? So again, my mind, I might not, I appealed it. I've never had to do this. And like I said, again, my whole thing is they know that I did what I supposed to do. But I'm just grateful that I'm getting what I'm getting. Fuck the medical. I know some herbs. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be told some shit, out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised. Your mind is a powerful thing. You know what I mean? A motherfucker can sit up there and be shot in the chest, but never look down and make it to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Like, your mind is powerful. You know what I'm saying? Look at we speaking into existence the end through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, the end of this man's dominion. Verse 17, so will I send upon you famine and evil beasts, and they shall bereave thee, and pestilence and blood shall pass through thee, and I will bring the sword upon thee. I, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua, have spoken it. So ultimately, the Lord coming with judgments. If you're not right, you're going to get got. I'm going to end it with this. I'm going to show you the title of the video again. It's Food Stamp Apocalypse, out of the Epic Economist. It says food stamp apocalypse begins, millions starve and line up at food banks. And I can believe that. Again, like I say, that day I took a short video of, like, we went a particular direction. It was a church, and I'm talking about this church. The complete parking lot was completely filled up. On top of the line went all the way around the corner. And brothers that's familiar with that area, like, that was a lot of fucking people. That had to be at least like 1,000 people. You know what I mean? From the parking lot all the way around the thing. I mean, I'm guesstimating. I could be short a little bit, but that was a lot of people. Because they got a big ass parking lot. So it had to be a couple hundred cars inside the fucking parking lot. It's the book of Isaiah chapter 65. But the scriptures tell us not to worry, because at the end of the day, the Lord is going to, pretty much protect us. I think that's in Matthew. Don't take thought about what ye shall eat or drink. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 12. No, I'm starting at 11. But ye are they that forsake the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua, the 2/3 that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish the drink offerings unto that number. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, he did not hear. They fanned their hand, they shrugged the shoulder. But the individuals that call themselves, of the nation of Israel, but at the same time don't take stock or prepare spiritually through the scriptures. They want to trust in Esau. They talking about the white man can make it, and the white man ain't never did nothing to them. Yet still this white man is plotting and doing shit to you right now. I mean, literally, I knew I was going to experience it to a degree, but to literally get fucked with by these police officers back to back, man. And the cold part about it is they pick and choose. You can see the prejudice. I'm talking about. I had my car taken twice. These motherfuckers literally, you got these bitches and these Edomite women talking about, oh yeah, they let me drive the car home. They let this guy, like they did, you know what I mean? Now, I got so frustrated, I kind of probably shot myself in the foot because, I said something and they was going to allow me to go call somebody. But I got AAA. I could have called, been like, well, let me go ahead and tow it. Yeah, so that's why, you got to rule over your spirit for real. Scriptures talk about agree with that adversary quickly. But I hate Esau, you know what I mean? Like the elders say, you try to, be sociable and, live peaceable with all men. But then you'll see, like, Esau be so smug. But this motherfucker look at me right in the face, tomorrow. Oh yeah. I say, man, listen here. He like, I want to document this. There's $1 million in the trunk. So what? So you could take it? Like, what the fuck you talking about? I can clearly see what you're trying to do. But did you do this with all the Edomites that you pulled over? Did you need to go in their trunk? Man, fuck this place. Verse 12 again. I called, ye did not answer. When I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua power. Behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. So at the end of the day, those that the Lord ain't helping, dealing with, or doesn't have covered, it's about to really truly suffer. So like I say again, and you can't shed a tear for them. At the end of the day, you had prophets in the past where the Lord told them not to shed a tear for them. Because at the end of the day, if the Lord ain't shedding a tear for them, why should you? They obviously wasn't right with the Lord. I was just telling a guy I worked with yesterday, because he saw me reading the Bible. Again, this job a lot harder, the more hours and shit, but at the same time, it works out, and I like it because of the fact I get to read. I get to read the Bible again. So it's like the Lord took me to jobs where I couldn't read, couldn't listen. Then gave me jobs where I had to sneak it. This job, they ain't giving a fuck for real. Like, that's sweet. But you can see, like, it's work, but you can see Babylon, you can see the grinder ceasing. Like, this is a job that probably, you could just tell, like, because I asked questions. I'm like, was it a lot of work earlier in the year? Yeah. He was like, yeah, you can see, like, they only doing certain orders. Because everybody ain't, like, a lot of these businesses is about to fail. You get what I'm saying? Like, this job, you could see it's old school, like they run the machines. Yeah, they probably won't be able to buy a lot of AI or automated shit. They gonna refuse to do it. So what's gonna happen is, if they not keeping up with the payments, they gonna end up folding in and being bought out or going out of business. But the Lord still gonna take care of his elect. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of your power, whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Elohim La Yahweh. Call Elohim La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Hagodash. Double honors to the elders, to the apostles that I learned this truth from. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwaka to listening and learning, Lord willingly. This is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad and the land of other nations. Appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to the truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, Lord willingly. Shalom, shalom. Kwame Yasharallah and Wathla Bawal.